Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I'm Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. So today I am absolutely pumped because I'm showing off a game that I absolutely love that's been in early access for years, and it's finally dropping their full 1.0 release and also coming to the PlayStation VR 2. Now this title is the action RPG Legendary Tales. I'll let you know everything you need to know, like why I pumped over 100 hours into the game's early access. Does the 1.0 release live up to the hype? And most importantly, is this game right for you? Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead to a specific topic, but let's just start off with the basic information. Legendary Tales is an action RPG playable in both single player or up to 4-person co-op. It features a quite robust and truly unique character leveling system, excellent physics-based combat, and plenty of dungeon crawling that'll put you up against monstrous creatures and murderous traps. The full 1.0 release of Legendary Tales is coming to the PlayStation VR 2 and PCVR on February 8th for $54.99. Now, as I previously mentioned, I'm already a huge fan of this game, and I could spend this entire video just fanboying. However, towards the end, I'm going to go over some reasoning why I just don't think it's right for everyone. There's a bit of a commitment here and a slow burn. So I'll get back to that later on, but let's move into why I absolutely love this game. For starters, this is a darkly themed and truly challenging action role-playing game that features one of the best leveling systems I have ever seen. Now, I'm sure the developers must have taken some inspiration from other RPGs like Skyrim and Diablo, but it also feels like there's definitely some tabletop influence here. When leveling, you'll have a choice of specific stats to upgrade or new skills to unlock, but there's also a separate series of stats that'll upgrade based on the actions you take. Continually go into battle with heavy strength-based weapons, and your character gets stronger over time. Magical spells will raise your wisdom, and precision weapons like daggers and bows will raise your dexterity. But where the true customization comes in is when you start unlocking specific perks. This is where you can make the character exactly how you want it. I've made everything from a hulking brute that can go hit for hit with some of the biggest enemies, all the way to glass cannon mages that will just have detrimental spells, but if an enemy gets too close, yeah, you're gonna be in trouble. I've also dabbled with characters that mix magic and swordplay, plus my friends have run some really unique characters like Soulfox for a while had a monk style character. He would go into battle with no weapons and just palm strike or punch everyone he could see, and he's basically going the way of the fist. So it is definitely a unique leveling system. I love it. You basically get to make the character of your dreams. Now, another main aspect of this game that I absolutely love is the physics-based combat. You're definitely going to feel like a badass, especially when you start leveling up. Blocking and countering attacks is extremely fluid, and when you score a critical hit, the game makes sure to let you know. Overall, the combat feels extremely rewarding, and it just gets better and better as you unlock more skills, spells, and legendary weapons. I had a massive sword that would allow me to charge through my enemies, knocking down everything in my path. Both the visual effects and overall impact of spells will have your companion saying wow the first time you cast anything, and we even came across a shield that would rival Captain America's. Once released, it bounces from enemy to enemy while making a beautiful eagle screech. So I think you can understand why this game is right up my alley. It is a darkly themed RPG with co-op, which is just a genre I love and is completely underrepresented in VR. It has a truly robust leveling system. It offers up a nice challenge, plenty of content, good graphics. Overall, there's really not much for me to complain about. However, there are some mechanics in the game that I don't think are for everyone, and I'll get to that a little bit later. First, I just want to compare this to some other games to help you understand what you're getting into. The closest other title out there right now that's similar to Legendary Tales is Dungeons of Eternity on the Quest. The immediate difference here is you're moving from more cartoonish style graphics with Dungeons of Eternity towards more of a Skyrim-like experience with Legendary Tales. The physics-based combat is also a lot more robust in Legendary Tales, and overall the game is much more complex. Now, I don't want to put down Dungeons of Eternity with this statement because I definitely enjoy that game, but it's basically like a more kid-friendly and mobile version of Legendary Tales. Conceptually, the games are pretty similar. It's best played in co-op, the gameplay loop centers around killing lots of enemies, and of course unlocking new weapons and upgrading your skills. Now, Dungeons of Eternity is definitely easier to get into, and the action ramps up a bit quicker, but overall Legendary Tales offers more. Now, if you're not familiar with Dungeons of Eternity either, another example is Imagine Blade Sorcery in co-op, and instead of fighting humans, you're going up against creatures. So at this point, I'm sure the game sounds pretty awesome to a lot of you guys watching. However, I did mention I don't think it's for everyone, so let's circle back to that now. For starters, it is a complex game. Like, not everything is explained in the 15-minute tutorial, You're gonna have to figure out some things on your own, even though there is some nice stuff in the menu that you can read through and explains how to use skills and other aspects like that. You're gonna have to look for some of this information. It's not like readily available, and it doesn't have like, as you continue to progress through the game, it pauses you and makes sure you do something. Once you're out of that tutorial, you are on your own. You're gonna have to figure things out. Additionally, it is a bit of a slow burn. So in the beginning, you're dropped into a giant open world, which kind of feels like you're in an MMO. You'll see bad guys roaming around in the distance, and if you get too close, they'll come up and attack you. So it doesn't feel like this living world. It feels like that, generic style fake MMO world. However, it's pretty fun when you have a bunch of your friends and you're just stomping through it. You'll also come across some quests scattered throughout this world, but they're really just an excuse to kill some enemies and get a little bit more experience. There's no true storyline in this game. It's much more about that gameplay loop of killing enemies, eventually getting into the dungeons, going deeper and deeper, getting legendary gear, getting stronger, and then eventually making it up to the big bad. So that's what it's truly about. It's not, a story-driven game. If you're looking for something like Asgard's Wrath, this is not it. This is all about the combat. The quest system was something that people requested. The developers were nice enough to accommodate them, but it kind of feels incomplete. There's not even like audio cues when you pick up a quest in lots of scenarios. You'll just see a little wall of text. They'll tell you what they want you to do. You'll say accept. You'll go do it. You'll clear out the text and you'll get a little reward. That's basically it. It's kind of extremely generic, or MMO style in that fashion. Now, the combat and controls might feel a little bit awkward at first, especially because, like I said, not everything is in your face and constantly re-explained. So if you forgot a control, you're gonna have to go look through the settings to find what it was, or just overall, they just feel a little bit weird. Like how to slide your hand down the pole or up the pole will take a second to get used to. How to immediately throw something into your inventory, or how to fire up a spell real fast. These things take practice, and that might frustrate some people. Like I made the comparison with Dungeons of Eternity. That game is just jump in, go, go, go. It's very easy to use your skills, pull out your weapons. This is a lot more complex, but also your weapons make so much more of a difference in this game. Like they're slashing, blunt, piercing. They'll make a difference against the enemies you're going against. Again, this all comes down to the game's overall complexity. If you want something with more depth in the fighting and the character customization system, it's Legendary Tales, but with that comes complexity. Like when you unlock different perks, they are extremely powerful, but you got to really pay attention to what you're unlocking. Like if you want to be a mage, you should unlock some skills that will give mana regeneration, because if you don't have mana regeneration, you're kind of screwed as a mage. So the skill system is extremely unique, robust, but important. Every single thing you pick is very important. And probably the best example is something like getting into Cyberpunk 2077. When you first start off that game, you're a wimp. Average guys on the street will beat you up. You're not seeing any of the cool combat you saw in all of the trailers. But when you start leveling up, you become such a badass in that game. You can basically stop time, kill people with a thought, do all these amazing, special skills, and Legendary Tales pulls that off too. Just when you get into the game, you feel like an average Joe Schmo who's getting killed by skeletons. But that legendary gear, the high level, you turn into a true badass. So the game is a commitment. Additionally, the game does still feel a bit indie or even incomplete. Like I mentioned, those lack of voice acting when you pick up quests. It's just little things like that that kind of make the world feel less alive. But I'm nitpicking at this point. So if you're looking for something that you could sink a lot of hours into, and you want an RPG like something like Diablo that you could play in VR with your friends, this might be a really exciting title for you to try. I just hate to give anyone buyer's remorse, especially when a game is this expensive. I personally think it's worth it. I mean, I put 100 hours into the early access alone. So I'm definitely going to be putting a lot more hours in now in the full release. And for those of you who already own the game on PC and you're curious what is coming in the 1.0 release, there's now weapon crafting. There's waypoints that'll teleport you to different places in the world. It's not just the Abbey, which is the dungeon. It now has all these different open areas that you can explore, which is pretty cool. And they've added a bunch of new enemies. So if you previously enjoyed this game, you should definitely jump back in. You're going to love what they've done with it. And that was today's video, guys. If you have any additional questions, let me know down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer you. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, consider subscribing.